Defender 21 Academics for the Multinational Corps Southeast was about our staff and their staff working together to create a joint plan of action to build this new corps within NATO and how they wanted to go about to do that. Our collective efforts between us and the Romanians with the ARC put together a plan of action and a glide path that we followed, that we get to work together as partners, to think through stuff, to debate, to have the competition of ideas about planning, about how we do mission command in NATO with all our leaders.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Patriot Show. I'm your host, Anthony Stephen Malone. We have a very special guest on the show today, Arnel David, Army strategist and civil affairs officer. Significant experience in the Middle East, Central Asia and the Pacific. Hello Arnel, how are you doing?
Anthony, thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be here. Really like what you do with what you're doing here with the show, with the U.S. and UK. Really important to foster and maintain the relationship. So really honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show. And yeah, you're right. The British and American military, we do have a very special relationship. So a lot of guys will know who you are, obviously, with 101st Airborne and in America. But for some of my viewers, who don't know you, can you give us a little bit of background of yourself before you joined the forces?
Yeah, sure. So I was born in the Philippines. My father joined the United States Navy when I was young, and that's what got us to come to the United States. And growing up as a young boy, I always admired my father and all those around him that served, all the men and women in uniform. So it gave me that ambition, that self-ambition to one day serve in uniform as well. And so I joined the Army at the young age of 17. Went to the infantry, and then I was fortunate to get a scholarship to Valley Forge Military College, where I got commissioned as a second lieutenant. Went to the Florida Army National Guard in the 20 Special Forces Group. Then I came on active duty. The bulk of my career has been in special operations, civil affairs, but lately, the past several years, I transitioned over as a lieutenant colonel to become an Army strategist, where we're charged with working for various generals and commands to attack very complex problems facing our commands in the Army.
Yeah, you've had your career is phenomenal. You've certainly been around and you've held some very senior key positions as well. I'll just like to take you back to 2003. Where were you at that point?
Mate. So I was in, as you can see, your emblem there is the 101st Airborne Division, Air Assault Screaming Eagles in Iraq for Operation Iraqi Freedom, in the 502nd Infantry, the 2nd Brigade Strike. Arguably the best division in the world. My brother is in the 82nd Airborne Division, who served in the 82nd Airborne, probably wouldn't agree, but clearly the best division in the world. But yeah, I was there, and I understand you were there too, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was that was a hell of a time to be in Iraq and in Mosul in northern Iraq during that period of time, where the area of operation for 101st was the whole of northern Iraq. It was a phenomenal time, and some of the people who we were with, Joe Anderson, Michael Lennington, David Patriot, all went on to be brigadier generals, and obviously David, the head of the Central Intelligence. So it's quite a big thing with 101st Airborne, isn't it? Anyone who's there, we go on to do something a little bit unusual.
That's right, brother. I mean, as a young officer, that's the place you want to go into these fighting divisions to get your teeth cut on being a leader, especially particularly in combat, leading soldiers. It's the greatest responsibility can be given in the Army and the military. So I was really proud of that experience.
Yeah, it was. It gives a lot of the young ones now, a lot of the young soldiers who were in the Airborne now, who are British and American, including 101st and 82nd, it gives them a lot to inspire by, because the history of what was going on with 101st, given it's not a very old regiment, but it's done a lot. Absolutely. Just going to fast forward a little bit there, as we're going to be talking about Iraq for quite some time, aren't we? You also held the position of Chief of Staff, Army Future Studies Group, a very important position. That, can you tell me, viewers, a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, sure, Anthony. So my last job before coming to the United Kingdom was the Chief of Staff for the Army Strategic Studies Group for General Milley. And we rebranded as Army Future Studies Group because our task was to deliver the blueprint for Army Futures Command, to develop this new command. It was a very big mission, but me as the Chief of Staff, just kind of helping herd the cats and keep it, do all the admin and resourcing. We had some top talent from the United States Army, civilians and military, to create this biggest change we've had since 1973 with the standing up of Training and Doctrine Command. So it was really privileged to be able to work on that task. And Army Futures Command, under the leadership of General Mike Murray, is a real thing now in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, it's in your opinion, in the past, I know this is a difficult question, in the past 20 years, what are the biggest changes and what are the best advances that you've actually personally seen in the military?
Gosh, that's what war does, right? I mean, it forces you to innovate and change. And I came in the Army wearing, black boots, you had to shine, and uniforms you had to press. And now we're in, a different type of fatigues. There's been enormous change. I mean, tremendous change in my career of 20 years now, where we've had this in the face of an adversary, an elusive one that we had to fight in these different countries. We had to think more, creatively and critically about how do we win America's battles and wars. And I've seen a lot of change. And is it enough? Have we changed enough to be where we need to be? Who knows? I mean, it's debatable, but I think that our turning around in Iraq after 2007, and Jean Patriot came back, and then we did the coin thing, and there's a debate about whether or not our surge really made that much of a difference or not. But I really do feel that me working with my Iraqi brothers and sisters that were fighting really made a difference, because they really cared about their, they had not much, they had nothing to lose. They were just trying to make their nation work, and they gave it their very best to secure peace there. So tremendous change all over the globe, and we will continue to see that change. And this is one thing that's constant in the military, in the world, is that we're constantly dealing with change. And I think we're as a military service, particularly the Army, I see that we're a lot more adaptive now as leaders, and we're trying to harness that adaptability. In the UK, we created the Fight Club, where we're just constantly wargaming and thinking about the business of warfighting and how we can be better at it. So lots of change, lots of people just trying to really give it their best to be the best we can be while serving uniform.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? If you look back, like 2002, 2001, 2002, 2003, it doesn't seem that long ago, but
yeah,
yes, like wow, it's
absolutely.
It went past quickly, I think, on that one. I'm feeling old now, anyway. Right,
Indeed, yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to some of the original people I was with in 2003, and they've now went on, and they're still a bit like yourself. They're still in active service over in the United States, and the changes in the world and everything that we've actually seen in 20 years, it's a phenomenal amount in a very short space of time. You're now, or you have spent with the HQ of the Allied Rapid Reaction Force in the United Kingdom. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So it's the NATO Allied Rapid Reaction Corps, and I'm a strategist there, helping develop plans and strategy. It's a unique organization where we work directly for SACEUR, but also the UK as a framework nation. We can be deployed to handle whatever problems Her Majesty's government throws us at. But it's under the command of General Ed Smith Osborne, and I would say that it's NATO and it's multinational, so it has its challenges with that dynamic. But for the most part, we're trying to lean forward and we're experimenting. We're trying to stay relevant for the fight and ready for whatever problems we have to deal with.
Yeah, it's important. And you're obviously American military, but you spent a lot of time in the United Kingdom. You went to King's College as well, down in London. And how do you find us? Because I spent time working with the Americans, and it was an amazing experience. And you've now spent time working with us as well. What's your opinion of that? Because we have a very different sense of humor, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've truly enjoyed working with the British and all my mates in the UK. But there is cultural differences and nuances. And so as much as I love it, there are challenges, right? Of just words. We're two countries divided by one language here, saying different things. And I've learned over time, and I really enjoyed it. I'd say that the one thing that worries me, and I'll just be honest, in the military and the British Army, is that I would say that we talk about mission command and taking risks, and I don't see enough of it. I think we need to do more of it in the British Army. We need to empower the younger leaders to just kind of get after it and not be too hierarchical, to really empower these younger leaders who I've seen some really great talent while we're serving in the UK, give them the chance to lead and do some stuff. Because what worries me the most is like if we have like a risk-averse culture within our organizations, and I think that really limits our full potential in the British Army or NATO. Is if we're not given the opportunity to just kind of get after it, change it, try some stuff out, not be afraid to fail. We talk about it, we use the words, but I don't see it enough, like people actually doing it.
Yeah, I think that's I think that is a very important point you brought on there. We've got to bring the younger generations now of officers, of soldiers. We've got to bring them on as well. I actually found when I spent a lot of time with the 101st and the American military, they're very forward thinking. I love the fact that people like David Patriot were just like in Iraq, get up, go, get the job done, end of. There wasn't a lot of the discussion about it. It was a case of mission, get it done, and that would be the end of that. The British are a little bit more reserved. And I can say that because I've served in the British Army, and I've seen it from the American point of view and the British point of view, and you've seen it at very senior levels now as well on that one. What in your opinion, what are the sort of the quirky differences that you've found between the American Airborne and the British Airborne?
Oh wow, that's a tough one. So I've only had limited exposure to the Airborne. I mean, the pairs are an animal of their own, aren't they? Are they not? I mean, they're something else. I do like the culture there, and they do have the get after it mentality. And I think the one challenge is mainly resources. We see the integrated review come out, and they're going to invest in these special operations brigade, and we have this Ranger regiment now. We're going to stand up in the UK, but they're supposed to be Green Berets. I mean, so again, interoperability, because like, what do these words mean? What are these capabilities going to look like? Are we going to give our soldiers the proper capability in kit training, or are we just going to rebrand a regiment? So I'm really critical about this because I know at the coalface, in the formations, the units, the soldiers, all these units, they want to do right, and they just need to be given. They need to be invested in and given the tools to create capabilities that's useful for Her Majesty's government. Otherwise, what are we doing? Let's stop with the buzzwords and invest in our troopers.
I think there's a lot of politics. I personally hope it isn't just a rebrand or rename. I don't think it is. I think the world has come on at such a fast pace. They're not past 10 years, like 10 years, 5 years. I think the British way of thinking at the senior levels of leadership, I am hoping that they've seen how the Americans operate as well, because a lot of lessons can be learnt from that. And I'm talking from experience because I spent a lot of time with the US military, and sometimes thinking out the box works. Well, you know yourself. Sometimes you can't just think there. You need to think of the bigger picture. So I am hoping personally that it isn't just a rebrand. What's your thought? Because I was a little bit taken back that the British establishment was thinking about having a Ranger battalion. That did take me a little bit back, actually.
Yeah, so I was slightly involved in the process a year ago, and I was consulted little by little along the way. There's a small group I was working on the integrated view for the Army, and they had mentioned this Ranger thing, and I was like, I think we're saying something different here, because you're saying Ranger Regiment that are like Green Berets, but in the United States, obviously those are two completely different capabilities.
Yeah.
And so I try to illuminate that point. It remains to be seen what they do, right? Because it's still early days with what's going to happen and how they shape that capability. Of course, it's your own, we don't all necessarily need to look exactly alike, because you have to create capabilities that serve your government and your nation.
Yeah.
But in terms of the words and the interoperability of what we're saying is the Ranger Regiment versus what we're saying is Regiment, I mean, there's that dynamic as well. So like, I don't know. I mean, I was really taken back too, and I was like, I don't think you mean Ranger Regiment when you say you want to have capabilities that are working with the indigenous population to work with people like the Green Berets, and you're going to frame that as Ranger Regiment. Ranger Regiment, it's like, that's more Death Blossom, right? so
yeah,
it's like two different capabilities.
Yeah, I think the words to us mean something very different to what the strategy politician people were thinking of, because obviously I think they were just trying to pigeonhole a certain group or try to get another group of people in there. I thought it was a little bit strange, and I've had a lot of questions.
Well, yeah, the British. I mean, the problem I think we have you guys have such tightly finite resource, and you try to hedge against everything, and you try to have all capabilities. You can't, because I mean, there's only so much of the finance to go around for everything. So you're gonna have to pick. You're gonna have to make a bet on what you're gonna build, and you can't just say we're gonna have X, Y, and Z, and we're gonna pay for all of it, because the reality is, like, there's not enough money to do that. So you're gonna have to pick which things that you will have that you need to what tools you need to affect the environment, to support the joint force, and to pursue your policy ends for your government. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to make a bet. And I think that's the problem, that we've been hedging against everything. Yeah. And then when you do that, nothing's a priority, and then it's just kind of salami slicing capabilities, and you don't really build a full mature capability. So that's my worry.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think with some input from people like yourself as well, and I think the people in the UK might get it right, because it is an opportunity as well. A lot of good could come out of this. But like I say, the world is changing. The threats we are facing now are not the same as what we were facing 20 years ago. So it is going to be interesting, I think, over the next year, 2 years. Be very interesting to see what some of the plans are like when they actually come into fruition as well. Obviously, with you being from a very a long military background, a lot of people who come out of the forces, both in the United States and the United Kingdom, the veterans and the service personnel who transition over to civilian street. What's your thoughts on this?
That's an important topic, right? Because after you take off the uniform, it's a hard transition, right? To take off the uniform, I dread the day I have to do it myself, and my advice to everyone that's still serving or is transitioning now or has transitioned and they're still looking around, and it's very important to network early on, to have associations. So there's a lot of associations, and there's like lots of studies and books coming out now about over the past years that there's like this worry that these democracies, what makes them great is all these different civil society and these different associations, and that they're in decline because lots of people are going online or they're not meeting to get together anymore. And really, for us as veterans, it's important, I think, that you stay connected and that you join different associations. I'm involved in so many, the Strategy Association, the Civil Affairs Association, and I mean, they're all good because like you can network, and then from those connections and all that connectivity, there's opportunities arise, right? So like someone might be looking for someone for a job, or you'll go, I know, Anthony, he's got those kinds of skills, you should hire him, or that's how we should help each other out as brothers and sisters in arms, inside or outside uniform, is that we should stay connected. And I think these associations that are out there are very important to join and to be involved in. And if you're a lead, if you contribute and give back to the greater good and help out, I mean, that's important too, because I don't think there's enough of that going on anymore, where people volunteer their time to help out with stuff. I mean, those are things that make America and the UK great. Our Western, democratic values. I mean, it's the idea, right, of a democracy that we have fought for and protect and are willing to sacrifice for, is that we have this experiment of the democracy to participate in, and to also, when you're a veteran, I mean, you don't want to disconnect yourself from that. So you want to jump into these associations and be proud of your service, and to stay connected, help each other out.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think you picked up on two very key points there. Networking is so important. The world has changed phenomenally. Social media, computers, Zoom. People who are coming out of the forces, who are transitioning, network as much as you can. Meet people. That is now what it is about. Especially with the COVID, this situation that has affected the world as well. Communication with people, networking is important. You've got to reach out to, like you said, your brothers and sisters who have already been out, they've transitioned. Speak to them, find out the pitfalls, the pros, the cons. And it's like you said as well, brothers and sisters, we are here to help each other. That's what it's about. I get phone calls from all over America, from the United Kingdom. That's what it's about. Getting people together, get them talking, happy days. That's what it's about. Any of the veterans, I know, that are out there who are going through a specifically hard time at the moment, because there is a lot of people, a lot of them are not talking out, but they will be watching this interview. Have you got a message for them as well?
Yeah, get online, and connect, and then check on your mates, check on your battle buddies. I do it all the time. I don't know where I'll just hit some friends up thinking about them. And, their feedback is always like, man, I'm so glad you called, or, because we are busy, right? And so we're living in busy times. And even with the COVID work from home and running around, I mean, we're on the computers all day long at meetings, and really just take a moment every once in a while to call on your mates and just check on them and see how they're doing, because it is really important. I know of a few people that were pretty down and out, and talked to them, and I'm confident it made a difference and impact on them to at least chat with somebody they trust or know, and just catch up with each other. So if you're out there as a veteran and you're transitioned, or these are tough times really you are living in. The pandemic is crippling a variety of places. Like it's different in different places. I come from the UK, where it's like lockdown since December, to the US, which like pretty much in Texas and Florida, where I've been, it's been open, like nothing's closed, and so big difference. And so I think the people it's really tough. You get plenty of time in the garage, as you say, working out, but gosh, it's tough. It's brutal these lockdowns. So get online, like I said, join associations and stay connected, so that we don't lose each other over any nonsense, and because everyone's pretty valuable. We need to stay connected.
Stay connected. Arnel, thank you so much for saying that. Very important. Take notice, people. You're not alone out there. If you're a vet, if you're going through a bad time and hard time, reach out to somebody out there. Okay, we're all part of it. Okay, have a chat, and you'll find you're not the only one who's been feeling a bit down as well. A lot of people have, but all the brothers and sisters get together, have a chat. It helps. That's all I'm saying. You're not alone out there. Right, Al, I'm going to tie up the interview. Is there anything else that you would like to say at this point?
No, I really, again, I admire what you're doing, Anthony. The special relationship is not to be taken for granted. We need to constantly, foster and maintain our relations between our countries. It's too important for the world, for our countries, and we just got to stay connected and help each other out. So I really admire what you're doing here, keeping us all to account and taking care of each other and learning from each other. It's really important with this, especially in this difficult time we're in.
It is. Okay, brother, thank you so much for coming on the show as well. And if you can just hold on the line for a second, I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody. Right, everybody, thank you for watching the Patriot Show. Hope that was informative, emotional, and I know you would have found it interesting as well. So everybody, stay safe. Catch you on the next show. Goodbye.